Warning: the following podcast contains adult language and possibly sexual conversation that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I guess that means anyone who likes ice cream, it's bedtime. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the podcast or its affiliates. The content discussed is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. These are professional retards, not psychiatrists for your fucked up sensibility or mental illness. Please consult a qualified expert for any specific concerns or questions. Thank you for listening, and if you are one of my precious little snowflakes, go get some minty chip and some of that good-smelling kids' shampoo. We aren't wanted here with these men.
Hello, boys. How the hell are you doing? This is Real Men Talk Shit, episode 123 with Ryan Ventura, and Facebook will be joining us at some point whenever that decides to pop up and say we're live. How the fuck are you, boys? It's been fucking a while. Me and Ryan, I think, have been playing this for like, what, a month and a half, something like that. It's been a bit.
something like that. You guys reached out to me a while back. I can't remember if it was after I got back from
I think
London
it was
for
probably after that fight. It might have even been after the second Harley fight. I was like, oh, we probably should get more people on from around that too.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of appropriate that you have me here for your 123rd episode. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
like
I didn't
count.
even recognize that pun, and that's fucking hilarious. That's perfect almost. But with everything going on in this past week, holy fucking hell, there's a lot of shit within UFC. There's a lot of fucking shit going around as a whole right now, let alone the Republican debates. I was just sitting there bullshitting with fucking Brandon Herrera while we were sitting here waiting for everything to get ready and it to be 10 o'clock. We're like, fuck, we should have done a live stream about the debates because that would have been fucking huge too. That would have been a fucking blast.
That would be interesting because, being a Canadian, I don't really follow American politics all that much, and it's not something of my expertise or anything like that. So if we were to stream that, I would go in 100% blind. I don't know what the heck's going on. You'd have to explain to me like I'm a 7-year-old as to what is going on.
Well, Brandon is a gun YouTuber who just announced that he's going to run for Congress in his district.
Okay.
So with him being a Republican, the Republican debates being on, throwing together 4 or 5 people, it would have been last minute because I didn't even know what was going on. But we're gonna get a plan together for that next time that one's coming around, because I think that would be a fucking hilarious time.
Yeah, it's crazy times indeed.
Oh, especially with all of the React streamers and everything else kind of growing and exploding. Reaction content like that with an actual person that's doing it would be absolutely interesting.
I've sometimes, it is interesting, and I do watch, reactions here and there on YouTube, but I find there's a lot of people doing it. It's It almost feels like it's oversaturated just a bit. So depending on who it is, if it's
it depends on how you look at things. It seems like there's a lot of people, like how XQC is being accused right now of not putting in enough time and effort into what he's doing and just sitting there eating. And it's just that shouldn't be a YouTube video. But
no.
But there's some people that break down complete lyrics and music videos and stuff like that, and that's to the same level of content as a lot of people. There's just different levels to it.
Yeah, of course.
But so obviously, I think the easiest way, because I don't know a lot about your past before coming up as a announcer and all of that stuff. What made you get into this?
Funny because I've answered this question many times, and it'll never get boring for me to answer this on any show that I'm on. So growing up, I grew up in a single mother household.
Hey, me too. I said that so much today. I did 2 hours worth of men's mental health talk earlier with the
and you obviously, you coming from that kind of similar background, you would understand the trauma that comes with it growing up and growing into a man and everything like that. And we grew up with not much. My dad growing up, and God bless him, we're super close and we're really tight now. But back when I was like younger, like there was a sort of like disconnect where my dad wasn't there for me and my younger brother at the time as much as we needed when we were growing up.
Absolutely.
So like my mom essentially raised us on her own, and like I had to like become the man of my house really early at a young age. So like I've worked pretty much every kind of job that you can think of, from like working at Foot Locker to gas stations, construction, just whatever I could do to help pay
Just
the bills.
grinding.
And like, yeah, just grinding. And I had to like have like consistent like like methods of like income. And like even like maybe this could be a story for another day because it's really long, but I actually got in trouble with the law. And like my life could have changed, and I could have gone to jail for like a year because like I got involved in some illegal fake credit card thing. And like when you're young and only like 18 years old,
No,
and like you
there's a lot of
sorry,
shit
go
like
ahead.
that. No, you're fine. I have thoughts and they just bounce. And like,
Yeah.
I had a very, very similar thing. My best friend's brother, because I moved about when I was 12, 13 years old. My best friend's brother, about like 2 or 3 years out of when I would have been out of high school, was convicted of murder or accessory to
Gosh.
murder. So like, and I said this earlier on the other show that I did. I was like, in the grand scheme of things, there are timelines that I'm in jail for murder right now because that's how close knit those friend groups are. When you're in
Yeah,
those
yeah,
situations, when you're available to do things, you back your friends up. It's
yeah,
not
for sure.
complicated to just fall into the bad fucking crew and it just happens.
Yeah, exactly. And well, what happened with me at that time was like, someone who was my really good friend at the time, like, when you're a young 18-year-old kid working at Foot Locker making like $8, $7 an hour, and you see your friend with like the latest like Jordans and like, money like all the time and everything like that, like you're like, oh shit, like, I want to, get a piece of what he's doing. And like I got involved with some stuff and I got in a lot of trouble, and it like really like changed my life because like when I got caught in the situation that I was in, like I actually when I ended up going to court, like I pled guilty as to what I did just because like I got caught red-handed. Like how am I gonna bullshit my way
Yeah.
through something you get like
And
caught
if you
red-handed in?
and if you're making $7 an hour, finding a lawyer that's actually going to legitimately represent you is kind of asinine to make that as a logical
Yeah,
fallacy in your mind.
yeah. And like when like I got questioned and everything like that, like I just like openly admit everything that I was involved in. And like here in Canada, like like you can get pro bono lawyer and all that. But anyways,
Yeah.
like without like mumbling on and everything like that, like I dodged a bullet, and like I got something called a stayed charge, which means like on your record here in Canada, there's a record of you getting arrested for something, but you
Yeah.
actually didn't have to do any time for it. So like I basically got community service, and I had to do counseling and things like that, and it was a real wake up call for me. And it reminded me that like maybe I'm not built or meant for the kind of life that my friend was living. So like I basically had to come up with legal and legit ways and to not be in trouble, and to like be able to pay my rent and to be able to pay my bills, and to like give my younger brother, who at the time was only 14 years old, an allowance and pay all of our phone bills and all that kind of stuff. So like I was
Well,
the man of the house.
not
Was
even
that?
monetary, like guidance.
Yeah,
Living that life where you're always looking over your shoulder and worrying if somebody's going to come up behind you or worrying about
yeah.
what the fuck's going to happen next. I had a guest on here, and he ended up being one of my good friends for a while. And he got super, super, super deep into Bitcoin when like it first started popping.
Okay.
Like super fucking rich at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he got into drugs badly, and it's
Mm-hmm.
all gone now. And
Oh
he's like,
shit.
yeah, I was dealing Bitcoin as a way to sell drugs, selling drugs. I was going down on the subway down into New York City, dropping off bags, coming back up, and then partying because you know what? I just made a sale. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that is fucking insane. He's like, yeah, I stressed every single day watching what the fuck was going to happen behind me, who was going to be there.
Yeah.
And it just makes you anxious. It makes you super fucking worried and uptight about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not built for that at all. So like, maybe it was a blessing in disguise that like I got caught the way that I did. So like I wouldn't stray down that path. So like, I did every like other than like the jobs that I had, like, I got involved in nightlife because that's always something that I've been into. Like even to this day, like I promote some of like the biggest like EDM and hip hop shows like in town and all that kind of stuff. And I actually ended up starting a website. At the time, it was called rabbitpunch.net. And like I used to write blog posts about like combat sports, so like
Yeah.
MMA, boxing, kickboxing, things like that. And my blog got enough attention to be noticed by lowkick.com, which at the time, and it still is, it's a pretty relatively popular website and all that kind of stuff for MMA. But like they were like a website owned by USA Today, and like they used to cover like the UFC and things like that. And
Hmm.
they basically recruited me for their website, and I started doing pieces for USA Today MMA. And
Hmm.
like that was one of my other side gigs. And when the UFC came to Vancouver, I don't remember the numbered event, but the main event was Junior Dos Santos versus Shane Carwin. When it came to Vancouver, I actually got credentials to go to the event. But before the event actually started, there's an event here called the MMA Expo, where like you can go there and you can meet fighters, get autographs, take seminars and
Get the
things like that.
connections and stuff to
Yeah,
grow yourself and
yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah.
things that most people don't think of, but that's the
Yeah,
actual
yeah, yeah.
answer.
Yeah, exactly. It's a networking event, right?
Yeah.
So like I went to the MMA Expo and I saw like this promoter, he was putting up flyers throughout the venue. And I go up to him and I said, "Hey, like I work in nightlife. I was an aspiring rapper, so being on the microphone was like no like issue for me at all. I asked him if I can try being an announcer for the event because like I am a diehard combat sports fan. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up watching Bruce Lee and Mike Tyson and Jean-Claude Van Damme and my grandfather, rest in peace. And like, I'd watch boxing with him all the time. And I watched the first UFC on bootleg video when I was only 7 years old. I'm obsessed with, I got a Street Fighter 2 t-shirt on right now. Like I'm obsessed with Street Fighter, anything combat sports, martial arts related. I'm
Mortal
obsessed with.
Kombat is blowing my mind right now with the shit that they're doing. Their game
It
looks
looks
fucking amazing.
It looks great. I play a lot of Street Fighter 6 myself. But yeah, I went up to the promoter. I asked him if I could try it, and he actually told me that he already hired a guy to do announcing for his fight card. But he
Hmm.
gave me some free tickets, and he told me to just come and enjoy the event next week when it occurred. So I brought my younger brother and my cousin with me to the Croatian Cultural Center on Commercial Drive, and something in me said to pack a dress shirt. I brought a dress shirt with me. I don't know why,
Just
but yeah,
something fucking told you just do it. It's
yeah.
probably the right thing. Who the fuck knows?
Yes. So like I brought this dress shirt with me, and like within a few fights on the card, the promoter comes up to me, says to me, "Hey man, like the announcer that we have right now, he's not really that interesting and he's not doing that great of a job. Do you want to try it?" And I said, "Yes, I'll give it a try." And keep in mind, I know nothing. I don't know anyone on the fight card. I don't know any of the fighters. I don't know any of the officials, right? And at the
Yeah.
time, professional MMA in Vancouver was illegal. So this was like these were all amateur fights, and like they were governed by like a voluntary group. So like it was like martial artists and like ex-fighters themselves, but like
Mhm.
these weren't people that were getting paid to like take this event seriously. So like I would go up to like as the fighters were doing the walk, I'd go up to their coaches and be like, "Hey, what's this guy's name? How much did he weigh? Where is he from?" And like I had like a notepad and a piece of paper, and if the fight went to a decision, I would take my notes. I'd go up to each judge and I asked them what they scored, and I tally it up myself, which is a
Yeah.
horrible idea because I'm horrible at math. So like it took long to do decisions, and I didn't know that day if this would be the first and last time that I ever announced an event. But the promoter came up to me, he gave me a paycheck for $100, and he said to me, "Hey man, like you did a great job, we'd like to have you for the next one." And I've been doing it since, man. Like I've been doing this since 2011. This is my 12th year in the game. I've made my name throughout Canada doing every single combat sport that you can think of, from MMA to boxing to Muay Thai, grappling. I've done professional wrestling. I've traveled all across Canada. I've traveled throughout the US. I'm the youngest announcer to ever get licensed in Nevada, which is kind of a big deal because like there's not a lot of like announcers that work in Nevada,
I didn't
you
even
know.
like when I saw that post today that was on Twitter that said that. I was like, wait, there's actually a licensing committee for fucking
Oh,
announcing. That is the
yeah.
weirdest connection that
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
ever
yeah, yeah.
seen.
Some states have that, and the reason why they do it, like particularly in Nevada, because that's the fight capital of the world. The reason why they do that is because A, they want to make sure that you're serious, and B, they want to make sure that you don't have any like financial ties directly with the promotion itself, like due to like fight fixing and knowledge and things like
Oh,
that,
absolutely. I could see that
right?
part. Obviously, it makes it so that way it's the most legitimate it possibly can be. It's just one
Yeah,
of those weird things that you wouldn't think of, oh, well, a license for that or the availability for those things.
yeah,
Announcing and speaking, I guess on some level it would be understandable because of like FCC violations and stuff like that, and saying fuck on live TV is probably not acceptable.
yeah.
But
That's not
like
acceptable.
there's different levels to that, I would assume, but who the fuck
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, so I've very fortunate to have accomplished what I've accomplished. You've seen me on the Zone. You might have seen me on UFC Fight Pass. I've been on the Fight Network many times. Pretty much like almost every platform and channel outside of like the UFC itself,
What fucking
or
UFC was that? There was right after we fucking talked, me and my friends were watching a UFC event. Literally
mm,
like that weekend that came up afterwards. I was like, oh look,
okay,
there's Ryan. I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. I was just talking to him. And I just sat there
yeah,
quiet. It's like that's like I assume that probably happens all the time, but I was like, that's fucking weird.
it, it's crazy because like I'm not like remotely close to famous, or like I'm not even close to where I want to be yet as an announcer. I still work like a regular job. I still commute like everyone else and things like
Hmm.
that. And sometimes like I'll get like the most random person that would recognize me. Like I would be on the train coming home from work. Some guy will be like, "Hey man, like weren't you working like the KSI event like a few days ago?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
man, like I was, but now I'm back in town and I'm here to work." Or like I'll go to the bank or something. Like it's really random. Like it happens here and there, but more I've been noticing it more, like actually throughout
Did
town.
did that disconnect that happened when you came home from those KSI events and stuff like that, going from talking in front of 50, 60, 70,000 people to just working a normal job
It's so
is
strange. But like you know what? It keeps me really humble. Because like especially during the like here I don't know like where are you from, man?
I'm from upstate New York, so
Okay, okay.
I'm like 140, 150 miles out of New York City.
Okay, so I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I'm about 3 hours away from Seattle. Here in Canada, the COVID restrictions were so
Yep.
like strict. It was so strict. So like I remember when events started shutting down and everything like that. Like I swear to God, like I didn't know if I would ever like be able to announce a fight ever again.
Yeah, who the
Like
fuck knows what's going to happen?
but the thing that like kept me going financially without any government assistance was like my full-time job, because like my full-time job, like as long as there is like courts and laws, like I
Yeah,
have a
you're
job.
good.
I'm good. So like even though it's like not the most exciting job outside of ring announcing and other things that I do, it's still like work that kept me like alive. So like like every single time that I step into a ring or cage, I treat it like it's the last, because like
Yeah, exactly.
I really don't know if like it actually will be the last, right? Like I went from like working that event to hopping on the train again, and it's just another day.
I said this earlier. I was like, after my neck surgery that I had, I was like, I'm living this life like it's a throwaway account.
Hmm.
Regardless of if I die tomorrow, if I die in 10 years, or if I die in 100 years.
Yeah,
I can tell you that it does not change how much I give a fuck. I'm going
yeah,
to enjoy every day. It does not matter. I'm
yeah.
going to be as happy as I possibly can be. I'm going to be as okay as I can be. I'm not letting this shit just hold me back anymore. I'm not going to be depressed always. And it's
Mm.
just such a weird thing to kind of just be okay enough to push yourself that way, because there are so many people that are just like, well, life sucks. So, no, you say life sucks.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
make life suck.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And like, some people like get the short end of the stick more than others. Like, I mean, we both come from, tough upbringing and everything like that. And like, we weren't dealt the best cards in life, but like, we're making the best out of what we have, and we're trying to do better every time.
Well, in all honesty, both of our jobs, our forward-facing jobs, not our private shit, obviously are dream fucking jobs. there are so many people that want to be podcasting. There are so many people
Mm-hmm.
that want to be in the UFC, whether it's a fighter or just an announcer. Like there is so few dream jobs that some people have, and two little shitheads that had single parents made it and grinded their way past. It's such a surreal thing to kind of look at that way. It's like,
Yeah, 100%, man. Just like I think about like where I was, like when I worked that first event, I was
mhm,
changing in a broom closet, man.
yeah,
I was changing in a broom closet. And like I remember like looking back when I was at the OVO arena in Wembley in London, like here I was like changing in this room, and like it's like a who's who of
yeah.
like you know people like on the zone, famous people that you would see. I'm just like, holy shit, man. And I'm rubbing like I'm rubbing shoulders and working with Michael Buffer. I it's so surreal. Like I can't
I,
even
I
believe it.
remember I remember being little and fucking watching WCW Nitro and him
Yeah,
doing Let's Get Ready to Rumble before the
yeah.
fucking main event. And I fucking loved that so fucking much. I would go crazy every single time.
Man, when I got to hear him do that introduction for KSI Joe Fournier, like I took my phone out and I put it on selfie mode.
Yeah.
Like I hope Michael doesn't mind that I do it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. Like when he did that, like
Yeah.
I just lost it. I was just like, you know what? I got to do my thing before he got on, but to see like that's like seeing Michael Jordan or Messi. Like I idolize this man, right? I'm not trying to be him, but I look up to him, and he's like
No,
the
and
gold standard,
obviously you work with his
right?
brother who's still one of the gold standards for all of announcing and everything else, and you are his other half essentially within the UFC. Yeah. Do you ever look at the things that they do or the things that they've done or ask them questions even to like hone your craft even better than what you do it currently?
You know what? To be honest with you, like I haven't really asked for like, much advice from like a lot of these guys. Like essentially when I worked with Michael Buffer, you know, he told me that like, he's been following me for a bit and he likes what I do, and he just told me to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm doing a pretty good job.
No,
I'm like, thank you,
absolutely.
sir. Right? Like so it's not because like I cuz like I'm very much aware of I'm a consistent work in progress, and that like every event that I do, like I can always do better,
No,
right?
absolutely.
So, so like
That's
I'm
how
not
I
trying
am.
to, yeah.
I kind of always expect critique or availability of somebody's opinion and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
shy away from asking for it for a lot. But
Yeah,
I
like
know that like when you're in something like that, whether it's voice acting or something like that, asking people's opinions and stuff is one of the most intensive things you could do. Because it's like,
oh
how the
yeah, for
fuck do I
sure.
change this and make it better?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I also like of course like read everything that is said about me on Twitter and Facebook, and
Wow,
you know
that's a
I
that's a scary fucking thought, man.
you know what though, it is, but like I take it into consideration, and like I actually reply to every single person too, like, or at least I try to, right, within reason. And I've a lot of the feedback that I've gotten, I've took that to heart, and I've improved, and like I'm working to continuously improve. And if any of my peers out there, announcers, fans, whatever, if they want to tell me what I can improve on, like I'm always open to it. uh you know
It's weird when the only people that will actually critique me tell me that I look like I've taken meth and that obviously I'm white trash and I've done nothing with my life. And I'm like, thanks. You're so in depth, man. You're
Oh
great.
yeah, like I some of the shit that I've seen, like for example, like my haircut is pretty like unique and all that.
Yeah.
There was this one comment that someone left for me. It was pretty funny. It was like when your haircut costs $100, but you only have 50, right? Or like you'll have like some
It's the
people that
hundred
are like,
dollar
oh,
haircut from Wish.
yeah, exactly. Or you'll have like some people that would be like, "Oh, you're trying so hard to be like Bruce Buffer. You're trying too hard to be this guy, that guy." It's like, all right, I'm here. Where are you? Right? That's the way I look at it, man. Like
Exactly.
I came a long way from the broom closet in Vancouver to being in London with like the Fury family and KSI, and and those kind of people. It's insane. So like,
No,
I
no,
look, I think back
absolutely.
at that. I think back at that, and I look at where I've been and where I'm gonna go. Like, it doesn't phase me whatsoever.
Well, especially with combat sports and everything being like that thing for you where you're like, this is the thing I love. It
Yeah,
must be
exactly.
absolutely insane meeting all of the people that you're like, oh, I watched you on TV. Oh, I watched you
Yeah,
on TV. I'm
yeah. I
hanging out
watched
with
you on
you.
TV. Yeah, or I've introduced you, and it's such a trip, man. Like I remember my when I got the first call up for Misfits, and I can't. I think the number was Misfits '03, which was in
Yeah.
Austin, Texas. Like I got I walked. I walked and got coffee during the press conference with Shannon the Cannon Briggs, and he's like, a boxing legend.
Mhm.
Initially, I was supposed to introduce Vitor Belfort, but then he had to get switched out for Greg Hardy because Vitor got COVID. But I remember when I first got asked, I'm like, holy shit, man! Like, I've been watching Vitor Belfort since I was 10 years old,
Yeah.
and like I'm going to introduce him this weekend. But it didn't happen. But it's such a trip to even think that that was a possibility. I mean, Greg Hardy, when he fought Hasim Rockman Jr., like I've watched Greg Hardy fight many times,
Not only
many
fight,
times.
but he's an NFL player. Everybody
Yeah,
has watched him on Sunday. Everybody was like, dude, this dude's the next coming. I remember that shit.
I introduced Le'Veon Bell. What a
That would
trip!
make me shit because I'm a Steelers fan. I've been a Steelers fan since I was little.
And shout out to Le'Veon Bell. He's a very kind person. I really liked him, and he has a beautiful family too. But yeah, Le'Veon Bell, like that was such a trip. He's like one of my brother's favorite players.
Yeah. No, I fucking loved watching that dude run for the Steelers. Shit was fucking fantastic, and then everything fell apart.
Yeah,
Entire team went to shit. But
yeah.
no, it's surreal meeting those people. Like I come from the hometown. Well, my hometown is where Tyson started rebuilding in upstate New York.
Okay,
So
okay.
so he still comes here. He pulls into like the government housing, parks his Bentley, and gets out and hangs out with all of the like government kids and just sits there and hangs out for like hours. It's just like, how
Wow,
the fuck does that work?
that's amazing.
Like that's a level of respect that a lot of people just genuinely don't have.
Yeah.
The If you search Catskill, New York, Mike Tyson, there's a picture of him sitting on his car in front of Customato's gym, literally in the worst part of town. Like there's been 4 or 5 murders there a year
Oh shit.
on that road because the town's small. But like it's just crazy. It's crazy watching those people kind of just be around and be a normal human being and getting to meet people that you idolize. It's weird because it humanizes them. And when people
Yeah.
become human, you kind of feel different having a conversation with them.
I mean, thankfully for me, like the years of announcing and also like, I'd have to give credit to the years of working the nightlife scene here in Vancouver. Like I'm constantly surrounded by like people that are like famous. Like I'm
Yeah.
constantly surrounded by these people and I constantly have to work with them. And to me, it's just like, oh, they're just people,
No,
right?
exactly. It's surreal because I started my job probably like 2.5, 3 years ago. And I remember getting Wings of Redemption on this show. And we
Oh,
had like
wow.
300 concurrent. We were sitting here bullshit and having fun. That was insane because I was like, I've watched Wings my entire life. Like that's a
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
ass
Yeah.
fucking connection. And
What a,
then,
what an internet legend, man.
yeah, nah, the fact that I was able to almost get him back on PK would have been fucking cool as hell. But and then sitting there with Ricada last year and setting the record for podcasts on Twitch, that was one of the coolest fucking things in the world. Over 700 concurrent, top of fucking podcasts on Twitch. That's a You don't feel those things normally. Those things are just
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. It's a good feeling, man.
Oh, it really is. When you're when you're doing things like Misfits coming up, how
Mm.
excited are you for it? Do you feel like it's going to live up to the hype that is being portrayed by people like Dylan and Logan right now, or is it going to fall apart?
100%. I feel like, everything that's like I hope Dylan does show up. Like it would be like, it would be like all this like publicity and promotion. What was it for if he doesn't show up, Like even if like
But
he
isn't this
steps
what he
into the
did to KSI before?
Yeah,
Or am
but
I remembering incorrectly?
this is on another level. Like, I mean, like, I thought before, like in Austin, Texas, when, you know, Dylan went to the press conference and threw the coffee at KSI and the whole brawl broke out outside the hotel, the entire combat sports world and the entertainment world was talking about this. But Dylan has stepped it up and taken it to another level with the trolling and the pictures and, you know, the antics and all that kind of stuff. All he needs to do is just show up and get paid, man, like, regardless of the result, because, you know, obviously, like, it's a fight. So, like, you know, when you step in that ring, there's like a chance that he could lose and everything. But I mean, what was the point of all
What
that
does
promotion?
losing? What negatively does losing do at this point? You talk shit and you
Exactly.
get paid. Like, what the fuck are you sitting here complaining about? You're on a YouTube
Exactly.
boxing card.
And also too, like, I feel like in the crossover scene, like, you know, being a guy that's been involved in combat sports my entire life, you know, the crossover scene is like unique in a sense where, like, who cares about your record, man? Like,
Yeah.
stop trying to protect yourself from the L. Just, you know, stick to what brought you to the dance, make great content, do what you do, and, you know, do what you do that, like, made people care about you, and then step into the ring, try your best, and put on a good show. That's all you can do, right?
No, and I've heard people go 50-50 on the response to this. And I've heard so many people be like, "Well, leave girlfriends out of the trolling, out of the comments."
Oh man, bro, like, you
Honestly,
know,
the
you're telling me about Mike Tyson and the Catskills, so you're a true combat sports, like,
yeah.
guy. Like, you
Well,
know
not
about the
to
history
that
about
level,
fighting.
but like I do know quite a bit, but not to the level of like a fanatic or crazy fan. Like I grew up around it, so I know a bit, but I know
Yeah,
more than
yeah.
most. Yeah.
Man, like, since the beginning of combat sports promotion, since people could promote fights, like, people have stooped to lows of lows, right? But at the end of the day, you have to answer to the person in the ring, right? It doesn't matter what you say about someone's wife, children, disability, religion, race,
Yeah, to me
culture.
the only thing that should be held back is a kid because they can't defend themselves.
Facts. But, you know, people have stooped that low.
Oh,
It's true.
absolutely.
But, like,
Absolutely.
the beauty of being in a fight and combat sports is you're gonna settle your differences in this ring. And on top of that, whether you win or lose, you're gonna get paid. And on top of that, you know, depending on the result, you're like, medically protected. Like, there's doctors and it's official, and, like, you know, there's people making sure, like, you know, God forbid, like, you get knocked out and you don't wake up from it, like, you know, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna be fine after the fight,
Yeah.
regardless of the result, right? So, you know, Dylan, like, to have, like, the entire world talking about this. You have Conor McGregor talking about this. You have Dana White talking about this. People that don't know anything about crossover boxing, they are talking about this. There's
Well,
lots of money to be made.
I think Connor is in a different league in that sense because he's talked about fighting Jake. He's talked,
Mhm.
oh, I'm never going to do that. It's getting more and more likely as the days tick over.
I
It's
totally
be,
can see it, man. I totally can see it.
it's like we're about to see the next level of shit talk because
Hmm.
before he was shit talking and he had to worry about being choked out to the point where things could go wrong.
Hmm.
Because I think that boxing is a different level to the UFC to the point where you might actually get hurt. You might actually have effects from one fight that lasts for a while.
Hmm.
Connor might talk even more shit than what he did before, and he is absolutely roided out of his mind currently. I'm interested to see what happens in that circumstance where if he does come fight Jake because he's talking about fighting in the UFC, he's talking about fighting boxing. What are you doing? Because there is so much shit going on.
Hmm.
This might be the stepping stone for what this becomes. It might be this
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Who knows? Like, you know, maybe, like, this is becoming the standard for trash talk. But I mean, like, you know, if you follow the UFC, like, Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland, they're gonna be fighting soon, and I feel
That
like the
shit's been
trash talk.
fantastic too.
Oh man, that's good. That trash talk is gonna be nasty,
Yep.
nasty. Like, if you don't have if you don't have a thick skin for words, don't listen. Don't watch any of these press conferences.
No, and it's kind of what the world needs right now.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
We need to hear shit talk. We need the
Yeah.
availability to kind of grow that skin back that we kind of got rid of for a while now.
Well, here's another thing too that, like, I feel like not a lot of people talk about. Not only do we need thicker skin for words, we also need to understand that words also have consequences,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know, like you talk all this game, you have to answer to that person or the cage or the ring, man. Like all that talk goes out the window when you eat a punch.
No,
It's beautiful.
absolutely. And talking shit and having fun is what life is. It's
Yeah, yeah,
having that
yeah.
availability to kind of just roll your fucking tongue, say what the fuck you want to say, and hope
Hmm.
that there's actual change because of it.
Yeah.
So the way that things are going, the way that things are going to the more WWE style of let's just bullshit and throw words back and forth, it is very very interesting because that's
It is.
where I started was fucking wrestling, and now watching all of this shit, it's crazy.
It is. It is.
And it seems like so many of the boxers and stuff are starting to go that way of everybody being super super hyper aggressive with words. You see it with
Hmm.
Connor continuing, and then now everybody's kind of trying to explore that realm. It'll be
Yeah, for
interesting
sure,
because I
for sure.
guarantee you some people are going to start hiring ghostwriters.
Or either Ghost Riders or like Chat
Comedians.
GPT,
Yeah.
Chat GPT,
Yeah,
right?
no, there is a difference to the cadence from a chat AI. You're going to have to rewrite that 2 or 3 times, and you're going to have to know yourself really fucking well to be able to do that.
It's really impressive. Like I sometimes mess around with it from time to time, and I'm just like, wow, man, they really captured how I would write.
I I had it write mythological stories about a few of our friend group, just
Oh,
just for like shits and giggles to see what the fuck it did. Write a horror
yeah,
story about this kind of person, and make them do this.
yeah.
It does some weird ass fucking shit. It does what you would assume that if you hired somebody off Fiverr, they would do, and it's just like, how the fuck did you get the level of, yeah, it's good, but it's also Fiverr level good, not I hired a millionaire
Well,
author.
I could tell you right now, just because like I'm one of the early like public adapters of Chat GPT and Bing
Yeah,
Image Generator and stuff like that. Like comparing it to when it first was publicly available last summer to now is
it's
night and day.
insane.
It's really scary, man.
Oh,
It's really scary.
I got an email because as a YouTuber and podcaster and all of that shit, you have to sign up for all of the emails because who the fuck knows what you're able to use and what you're not. I
Yeah.
got an email. It's like SEO is dead. AI killed it. Everything, literally, if you type it into AI, you'll get SEO correct. At some point, if you sit there and take the 20, 30 minutes to do it, you'll get it perfected. You'll be able
Hmm.
to hit. The problem is now everybody is hitting. The problem is now SEO is completely gone. So now the only way to actually get an actual connection with people is through actually working with others. Isn't that
Hmm.
weird that we've kind of gone full circle?
Yeah. Yeah.
And AI
It's
was the
interesting.
reason that we actually had to interact with each other. That's fucking asinine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Whatchamacallit? G Fuel. Thank you for fueling me today because I'm fucking exhausted. I've I had a therapist appointment. I've had now 2 podcasts. We're going to go on 4 or 5 hours worth of content, and I'm fucking beat of running on 4 hours of sleep. Use code RMTS at
Oh,
checkout for G Fuel. You got to keep going.
G feels great.
Oh, it absolutely is, man. It absolutely is. I fucking love them. They've supported me so fucking much.
I love like I actually I'm looking at the cans right now. I have
Mhm.
the Mega Man Blue Bomber slushy, and I also have
That
the
is one of
Peach
my
Ring.
fucking favorites.
Yeah, I love Mega Man and the Sonic the Hedgehog Peach Rings one. I got that.
Yeah, they gave me 12 cans to fill up the mini fridge that's by my leg, and I
Nice,
finished them in a week. So I need to ask my Connect to send me some out because
cool.
my mini fridge is empty. Eddie,
Sh-
please.
Shout out the G Fuel if you guys are
Yeah,
looking for a hype ring announcer voice.
exactly. You gotta get all excited and uppity.
Yeah.
So when you were struggling with those single parent problems of being lost and everything else, did you have a end goal of working with the UFC, or did it just kind of fall in your lap of it just your life kind of just pushed you that way and you just kind of fell into it?
Life kind of just took me that way because like especially when you're starting out from the beginnings that I had, and even now, like I'll tell you right now, my like even if I reach the goal of officially like being inside the UFC octagon and working for the biggest promotions in the world, I'm still not done. Like,
No, absolutely.
I have a long way to go. But like, if you were to ask me 12 years ago that I would, that I would have done what I've done, like, I didn't see it that way. Like I was just looking at it as like, oh, this is some extra money to pay my bills, man. Right?
No, exactly. That's what's so surreal is like it seems like a lot of single parent people, unless they're somebody who's like end goal is football or end goal is basketball, and they're like, that is the only thing I'm striving for. If not, I'm gonna go to the corner and sell, and
Yeah.
that's the only answers they have. It's like unless it's one of those dreams, it's like everybody kind of just has the thing that they are meant to do kind of fall in their lap, and it's one of
Yeah.
the weirdest things.
Yeah, man. It's surreal, man. I count my blessings every day, and I'm glad for the things that I've done and
Um,
and continue to do.
No, absolutely. So were you there? What was it yesterday when the shit hit the fan, or was that today? When the fuck was that? The announcer and presser for KSI versus what the fuck is his name? I completely
Fury.
yeah,
Fury.
Fury. Yeah.
No. I'm back here in Vancouver. I was not at the press conference at all. I was watching from my office actually, drinking coffee. It was 8 a.m. when the whole thing was going down. It was pure chaos. It was exactly what I needed to watch at the time. It's exactly what Misfits needs too, man. Again, this whole press conference got the entire world talking. John
Yeah.
Fury just lost his mind. Whew, crazy.
And I'm seeing the fact that Logan tweeted, "John Fury, you're a W." I'm like, dude, you are quadrupling down on the Jake hate recently, and that's fucking weird. Like the fact that
Yeah.
you're saying yes this, and I'm like, dude, that's your brother. You're saying his the person he's trying to fight, his dad's a W, and I'm like, fuck, man, like that's next level.
Could you imagine? Like, I don't know anything. Like, I'm not privy to matchmaking, and I don't have any like things that I know like behind the scenes. But could you imagine if the end goal is Jake versus Logan?
Honestly, like even with the podcasts and stuff that they've done, where they're like, no, that's not the goal. Logically, that's the goal.
That's
There's no way I'm that retarded where I'm like that's not gonna happen.
they
No,
they
that's
could
absolutely going
they,
to
they could
happen.
probably like hold that in some crazy like soccer arena, and like it would like sell out like crazy just
Well,
because there's
SoFi.
this. Yeah, there would be like this odd fascination with seeing these two famous larger than life brothers fight each other in a boxing match.
Well, the crazy thing is well, Logan's under contract with WWE, which is now
Yeah.
purchased by the UFC.
Yeah.
That is Jake versus the UFC. That is Jake versus that company as well. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are more of a conflict in that situation than most
Yeah.
people put together. Like they'll put together, oh, well, Logan's friends with KSI, so obviously there's a conflict there. Jake wants to fight KSI. No, there's like 15 fucking things that they butt heads over.
Yep. That's facts, man. That's facts.
It would be dumb for them to miss that, I think.
Hmm.
I think that's $100 million event.
Yeah. There's too much money on the table. I mean, and clearly, like they. I don't know, like whether like how much of it's an act or anything like that, but
No
I
idea.
mean, like you know, they're whatever they're doing, like it's almost like pro wrestling storytelling. So like this is like long term. Like even though they're not fighting right now, they're planting the
They're,
seeds to get
they're
you
going
hyped
to be.
for them.
They're
Yeah,
going to be.
exactly. Yeah,
Don't be dumb. Sit here and beg for it. Ask for it because we're coming.
yeah.
And
And also too, like there's like those people out there that just want to see one of these guys get hurt or both of them get hurt. So like that's part of like the appeal of going to go see these guys.
well, that's a lot of what WWE's done with Logan as a whole.
Yeah.
First time they show him, oh, let's put you as a face. You have all of these fans. No, those are 14-year-old girls. Please do not try and get them as fans of WWE. That's not going to work. He has to be a heel. Let all the men hate him because that's what he is. Just let
Yeah,
it be.
exactly. Yeah, and
But
he's doing a great job in that too.
oh, he's disgusting. Dude is so fucking athletic. It's scary. But
Yeah, he's excellent.
it would be really interesting if it ends up being Jake and Logan as the main and Deji and KSI as co-main. Just flip the first
I
card.
think I think like the internet world would explode. Like maybe like the old school diehard combat sport fans will not give a fuck about that, but like I think this would like transcend like the internet world, like the entertainment world. Like they would be
Nah,
on board for this craziness.
I think we need to get in touch with PJ and Keem and be like, no, this is what needs to happen by the end of next year. This is goal.
Yeah,
Just keep pushing it.
this is gonna be like bigger. This is gonna be like one of the biggest events ever, let alone like crossover boxing.
Well, the one that really surprised me was Wings.
Yeah.
How much of a following he had in that circumstance was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand like a lot of his following just moved on. That doesn't mean that they're not Wings fans. They just didn't want to hear the BS anymore.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Them coming back and being there and watching or screaming at the event was insane, just seeing that flip, because you don't expect it when it's not right there.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you could have any creators that you know of or whatever in a boxing match, who would it be? Whether it's one crossover and a content creator or whatever.
I want to see Mike Perry fight someone in a bare knuckle match. I don't know which creator, but like whoever's down and crazy enough to do it.
Wasn't he the one that's trying to fill in for Logan too? Isn't he the fill-in?
Actually, I think it's official. Like he's officially gonna fill in if Dylan doesn't show up. But like,
I think I could be wrong. They were just talking about Darren Till also showing up, and if Dylan actually shows up, they will be doing a undercard match as well.
Yeah. And that's like a fight that's been long overdue too, because like, you know, in the UFC, when they were both part of the UFC, people wanted to see these two guys fight each other too. And the funny thing is, like, they're like friends. They have like a weird friendship, but like they want to fight.
No,
each other.
that level of respect on Twitter was interesting, because they're like, "You want to fight? We'll make a big bag."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, sounds good. I'll be there." It's like, where's all of this? Because like that would be the easiest way to get people to do things. Hey, you want to do this?
And yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, both of those guys, they're both savages. Like they're not gonna, like, you know, go down easily. Like they're gonna both come out there, they're gonna step into the ring, and one of them is gonna get knocked out.
Yeah, no, they're gonna swing for the fences, because why the fuck not? They're not going back to UFC. They're done.
Yeah, for now. I mean, like, who knows, right?
Yeah, but it's insane. It's insane watching all of these people to work together, because it's like the creators come into that space, and all of a sudden it just starts moving for some reason, and all of a sudden everything just becomes much more streamlined, and it's weird. It's weird watching all of our little ADHD asses just push content and push availability for things and just make it all work somehow.
You know, I kind of wish that like crossover boxing was like a kind of a big thing, even like in the early 2000s and the 90s, because like if you think about it, like I grew up like a big hip hop head, right? Like think of like all the legends that we lost due to like violence and gangs and guns and things like that. Could you imagine, like, you know, back in the day, like you'd have like your favorite rapper who's beefing with someone, like they, instead of like, you know, having like their affiliates and their gangs like settle their differences, like these guys settle their differences in the ring, and they get paid, and you know they get to do it on a public platform rather than someone dying.
Well, there was celebrity fights, wasn't there?
There was, but nothing on this level.
Oh,
not
absolutely
on the level
not.
that we have it now, because like
but
now,
like say
usually they would get like washed up celebrities.
Absolutely.
Screech from Saved by the Bell, rest in peace. Like they get him to do like some boxing thing, but now like, there's actual incentive to like.
If you put Tupac and Biggie in the ring and just tried to squash that beef, which we can go into that conversation with the shit that's come up recently, but I don't think that changes anything. I think they still both end up shot. Like the ego hit that takes to lose, and that specific, because there's bad blood.
Okay,
how many
that's a
people
fair
how
point.
many people are you going to be like, yeah, they would accept the answer?
Well, I mean, like,
Like even now, if you put 6ix9ine in that ring with somebody that he's been outward against or somebody that's been outspoken against him, I don't think that one of them, if they lost to 6ix9ine, is going to accept that answer.
even if like, they got paid, like paid really well, they
Do
made like
you
a pay-per-view percentage.
do you think that monetary value to somebody who's a millionaire is worth it to take an ego hit and masculinity hit and
I
like
don't know. Maybe
that?
it's because like I look at it from a martial artist perspective because like
Oh,
from
and I respect that. I'm just saying, like
right.
the gangster version of it, the hip hop version of it. I don't think that they accept the answer. I think that
Possibly
that's
right. So
too
like if
negative to them.
possibly, I mean, like the logical way to think about it is the guy that beat me is the better man that won that day, right?
Like honestly, like even if you look at the biggest rap beefs that have happened, you look at Eminem and Ja Rule. Eminem won,
Oh,
hundred
yeah,
percent.
yeah. He did. He
But
fucked. He ruined his hip hop career.
MGK should have been considered the winner out of those two.
Against Eminem.
Yeah, because Killshot was not a better song or better track than Rap Devil. Rap Devil by far was better.
Well, depends on how you look at it though, because like if you look at like someone like Eminem, like he's a cultural icon. He's a music hall of
That
famer,
is why I think
right?
it was given to him in a matter of respect. And that's what it seems like MGK was trying to do with his lyrics to begin with. You have his beard's weird shit, but at the same time also giving him his grace. Oh, you're the
Mm.
best alive, but I'm going to kill you. Like those levels of respect shouldn't be taken as, oh, I'm worse than you, therefore I don't care. It should be taken as, I respect you, but I still have to say what I have to say. There's a different level to it.
Okay, yeah, all good points.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I do.
if I would listen to Rap Devil or Killshot, it would be Rap Devil like 90% of the time. Unless I'm going through the entire feud and then I might listen to Killshot. Killshot has no like the level of diss in between Killshot and the Warning. I would rather listen to the Warning every single time, which was the Mariah Carey diss. That song's just better put together. It's not just kind of weird flows and just I'm gonna throw a jab here and there and none of it kind of going together.
Yeah. Diss tracks are interesting, man, because like there's so many like legendary like diss tracks in the history of hip hop, but I find like maybe it's because of like, my mindset and all that kind of stuff that like I don't have them like on heavy rotation like, some other classic
No,
songs. Right? Just
no,
because
but
it's like
I'll listen to Toy Soldiers,
Toy
which is
Soldiers
an
is good.
attack at Benzino. It's an attack
Yeah.
at fucking Ja Rule. Like it actually has sentimental meaning to it. It has a logical story behind it. Those level of diss tracks is just completely different to me. Like I don't
Or
know
what
if
about or actually how about like Go to Sleep? Go to Sleep with like Eminem and
yeah,
DMX and Obi Trice. That's a classic.
no,
That's a classic
absolutely.
song.
Like
Ooh.
there's a different level to it, and I think Rap Devil hit that level of it's melodically different than just I'm gonna kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And it also gives respect to, yeah, we're just shit talking at the end of the day. Like if you were next to me, I'd be like, why the fuck are you trying to stop my career? Like that's logical.
Yeah, that is.
I said your daughter's hot. That's not really disrespectful. She was underage. That's why it's disrespectful. Like that's the fucked up part of it.
Yeah,
Not
it
the fact
is.
he said something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that's just my mindset, but it's weird. It's weird the things that stick out to some people, and it's just like, no, that's not how things work. Ugh. So I've absolutely fallen in love with UFC in probably the past year and a half. I didn't really watch it before that, and I've kind of been consumed by it. And I
Sure.
love Volkanovski. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm probably missing a syllable.
No, you got it, man. You got it. He's one of my favorite fighters too.
No, he's fucking fantastic. One of my friends, Drapsky, he's fucking Australian, so he's in the fucking VC just screaming. That might be why, but it's just so interesting to watch him fight. He's one of the baddest motherfuckers in the world.
100%, and he just seems like a really good guy too, right? Which helps.
No, absolutely. And it's just it's so surreal to watch somebody like that kind of just become the top and unquestioned almost.
Yep, fully agree.
So you were talking about fighting games and everything else with the kind of jump start that Street Fighter just got with a big new release, and then you have Mortal Kombat with a restart.
Yeah. And we got Tekken. Tekken's coming out next year. Yeah, Tekken.
I haven't played Tekken since What one was? I think that was Tekken 5 on PS1.
PS2.
Tekken 5. Okay, so then it was Tekken 3. It definitely was an odd number. Yeah, but I played the shit out of that. I played all of the Mortal Kombats. I have not played any of the Street Fighters. Probably need to do that.
I'm a Street Fighter guy, major Street Fighter guy. I have a great deal of respect for Mortal Kombat. So like so if you're gonna talk about like the big three fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, it's for me number 1 Street Fighter for life, Tekken number 2, and then MK number 3.
Well, Mortal Kombat was my first ever game I played. So that's probably why I'm so attached to it.
Okay, so who's your main in Mortal Kombat?
So for the longest time it was Scorpion. I have his.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right. I'm a Sub-Zero guy.
And Sub-Zero was by far one of my I'm working on getting this turned all into ice, so a nod to Sub-Zero as well.
No
so like. I love that story. I love that dynamic of the actual story and myth behind those two. Like I love the in-depth shit behind it. But it's like most people don't know that shit. Most people don't know the nerdy and the weeds shit of his brother, the first Sub-Zero, was possessed by that evil motherfucker with the red tattoos that looks like Kratos from God of War. That motherfucker killed his entire family. Just killed all of them. And then he killed Scorpion. Then that evil motherfucker that looks like Kratos turned him into a demon and he came back to life. Then he killed Sub-Zero. And then he found this random motherfucker being Sub-Zero and he's like, no, that guy's cool. I'm going to protect him. What the fuck? That is the weirdest level of myth that most stories are not that level of thought out almost.
Yeah, the MK lore is amazing. Like you can actually watch like from the last game, you can watch the cutscenes as like a movie.
Oh,
like, you don't even have to play.
I did. I watched. You can watch all 3 of them back to back to back, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it is a movie.
Yeah,
I'm thoroughly surprised with the relaunch of a story that they didn't follow the movie.
Yeah, that was like I didn't dislike the movie, but like it wasn't necessary to like make that new character just for the movie.
I think they did it so that way you could imagine yourself in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like a character that was nondescript, that was available, and not a game character already. Like if they did Shijinko, which would be the other logical person, what are you doing? That's a dude that ages shit tons in like a couple years. Like who the fuck really wants to be the old guy with a long ass beard? Like it's just not what everybody would want.
I still absolutely love the very first Mortal Kombat movie. The original
I do too.
One from 1995.
I just watched that and the new one with my son who's 10. So he's finally getting that like itch to like do fighting games and stuff like that.
Good man. I
was like, dude, we got to watch these. Like you're getting to that age where it's okay to watch this shit. You're not going to try this shit or I'm going to try this shit on you and we're going to have a problem. But like I was like we're going to watch these and we're going to enjoy them. He's like, these graphics are horrible. And I'm like, yes they are. This came out the year after I was born. But it's so cool to watch like the story catch somebody. And it's not the graphics, it's not the shit on the TV. It's hearing what the fuck is going on and why and what's going on. It was so cool to watch his mind just be like, I like the story. And then we watched the new one and he's like, I really like this. Yes. Yeah. Is there more? No, the new one just started filming. There's no more probably for like another 2 years.
Yeah.
Because there's so much CGI in that second movie. I guarantee you it's going to be.
Are you excited about the Johnny Cage animated movie? That looks amazing.
I have to catch up on all those animated movies. So the first time that I saw that there was any animated stuff around it was when the movie came out, because they're all on HBO. So it was oh, what the fuck is that? No, I was looking for the actual movie.
No, man.
Then,
you gotta when you get the chance, go see the trailer for the upcoming Johnny Cage one. When I saw it, I'm like, yo, I didn't know I wanted that. I didn't know I wanted an animated Johnny Cage movie.
Is like, I can't think of another story that is told to that level, that kills off characters without giving them plot armor, that has that many active characters, that many named people in the series, other than Marvel.
Yeah.
If you filled out the Mortal Kombat universe with people that the actors people actually cared about, it could be at the level of Marvel. And it's a better story. It's not just let's save the universe because bad person did bad things. It's all of us have different unique abilities, and there's you and like there's actual people that are normal people, and the intersection of those. Not where Marvel is like, oh, well, these are superheroes and these are people, and they're two different things. There is no you in the Marvel universe. You're still a normie. In Mortal Kombat, you're supposed to be looked at as Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
Anybody could be a Mortal Kombat combatant because they're all able to unlock that. That is unique to that story, I think, and it's interesting to see that level.
It is. I like it.
I wish their stuff with DC went better, because that'd be an interesting movie series and everything else.
Yeah. If they somehow like crossed over, that would have been cool.
Well, they're owned
like,
by the same company.
I know, like, and like, you know, the games and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, like, yeah, like, you know, the original like DC versus Mortal Kombat, like, you know,
was a shitty fucking game.
Yeah.
Well,
it could have been better, right? Could have been better.
They held them back. They wanted to sell the game to kids instead of selling the game as a whole
to the fans.
You put that blood and violence in there, and I bet you that game sells more. I bet you that game becomes something.
Well, when
very,
they put Joker,
when
they put the Joker in the like as a guest character in the last game, that kind of made up for it a bit, because it was pretty dope to see him do his fatalities and all that crazy stuff.
Even things like Jason or Leatherface or Freddy Krueger, all of those cameos were fucking fantastic too. They are knocking them out of the park. It's not like they're shitting the bed. It's just they don't have the eyes on them they used to. Like, I remember when I was a young 10, 12-year-old kid, I every year I was looking for a new Mortal Kombat game. I remember getting Armageddon and being like, oh, I'm going to play all of this. I remember getting Deception and Shaolin Monks. I remember fighting. My mom, how old was I? I was 10 years old, and it was like 10 or 11. And my grandma would take us for Christmas trips. And we had to go like 30 miles to the closest Walmart because there was no fucking Walmart around here. And we would go across the river and go to Walmart and going through the electronics section, because it was always, Zach gets a video game. That's just what I want. I don't fucking want toys. At 10, 11 years old, if you're not buying me $100 thing, it's kind of just going to sit there and waste anyway. Let me get something that I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And nobody seemed to understand that for some reason. But we go into the electronics section, and I'm like, Shaolin Monks, that one. And I walk up to the cashier, because they always have to unlock the fucking glass case because there's only one fucking key in the entire store. I'm like, that's the one I want. They're like, you can't have that one. So I walked over to my grandma. I was like, "That's the one I want. Go talk to this person and have them get it."
Yeah, I remember doing stuff like that, man. Going to EB games, like,
Yeah,
having to get your parents or whatever to like go get it for you. Like, I
yeah.
remember going to EB games and like, asking for, I don't know, let's just say like Metal Gear Solid 2 for the PlayStation 2, right?
Well,
Like, because it's like rated M, it's like
yeah.
I can't get it.
Well, after the story, the crazy shit that they're doing is gonna completely destroy this entire market now. But
Oh, what are they doing?
let me finish the story and then I'll go
Sure.
into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatchamacallit? And my grandma walks up. She tells them which one and everything else. We walk up to the cash register. They're like, "So this is for you, isn't it?" It's like, no, it's not. I promise you, it's not for me at all. I'm not the one that wanted it. So whatchamacallit? They're talking about with GTA 6 or around GTA 6, making it so you have to face verify when you open the game.
Is that for real?
Yes. I don't know how logical or how in depth they're looking at for it, but they were talking about allowing access to cameras and stuff like that when you purchase the game, especially digitally, and make that available.
You don't even do that when you go to the movie theater to go watch an R-rated movie.
I think what they're saying is like they're going to look at your and make sure that there's not a 6-year-old sitting in the chair opening the game, which I understand how that's logical. I understand where that would be the next step. I don't think it's a step in the right direction. I think you lose millions of sales because of that. Because like there's those people that don't grow facial hair. Are they just never going to be able to play the game, or they're only going to be able to play the game if they have 5 o'clock shadow that day?
Well, I mean, like if you and like someone like me, like I don't look like I'm in my mid 30s, right?
No,
That's just
absolutely.
wild, man. Like I can't even believe that's like a actual like consideration that they're trying to do. And knowing like how clever the internet is, like there's gonna be someone out there that will figure out a way to bypass that whole process.
No, that's it's interesting because at least it's a conversation that people are having.
Yeah,
And
I don't agree with that idea at all. It's a horrible idea.
well, it comes into play with a lot of the things that they were talking about with the PS5 and the Xbox One X. I think is what the Xbox X, whatever the fuck the Xbox One is, because nobody remembers which one that one is. It it um it rem- it reminds me a lot of when they were talking about doing open DRM with those and being able to
Mhm.
transfer games digitally to your friends and stuff, but you had to lock your account. And everybody's like, "No, I don't want to buy digital games. It's locked to my account now." Oh, if I share my game, then all of a sudden I can't play it. It's like, but they're thinking out of the box and giving you options. The fact that they're being open and forward facing with it means that there's a hell of a lot more behind the scenes that they're thinking about.
Hmm.
Everybody has said that these things are inappropriate for kids. Is it? I don't think it is. I understand why people say it is, but
Hmm.
there's an argument and a conversation to be had there. Is it logical for them to check cameras? No. I don't think that that's going to be accepted. But
No.
do I see that as a possibility moving forward? It's a chance.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
true.
chance that they try and move forward that way. It's a chance that they're like, oh, well, you have to verify with Facebook. You have to verify with Twitter. Having auto logins like that. There is going to be something fucking weird in this next generation coming up, probably 2 or 3 years, that is connected to some form of social media, and you have to be verified on that social media. And
Hmm.
you see it with being able to verify on Twitter for money. You see it with being able to verify on Meta for free, but you're able to verify. Those things are
Hmm.
fucking huge. You're gonna have to verify to play games soon. Just feel it coming.
I don't. That's fucked up, man.
No, what's more fucked up is that people people are going to have to verify to play video games before you have to verify to vote.
Yeah, that's fucked up too.
That's a weird fucking level.
It is.
Does your guest have a mohawk that he has combed over? B moves and Drapsky and I are very, very curious and confused.
No, man, it's just. So basically, like, it's let me try to So like my barber, like he does like a design fade,
Yeah,
like it's kind of grown out a bit, but like he fades it here and it cuts here, and basically like it's combed over to the side. So like if I didn't like fix my hair, it'd be all over the place.
exactly. So no, it's
Yeah,
not a mohawk. It's a throw over to the side. But yeah, I
yeah,
thought it was hilarious. But no, this shit's weird. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they move forward with doing things like that. But I think also with them making people to verify going into video games, I think that video games are going to be more explicit, especially with things like Baldur's Gate out right now. Oh, sex being a choice. That is fucking weird. Like I remember when GTA was odd for having sex as an option or seeing titties as an option. Now it's like more games and more games are making that available always.
yeah. Well, I remember growing up like in the 90s playing Duke Nukem 3D, and you'd go into like the strip club and like
Yeah.
you'd give like the girl like some money and then she'd flash her titties at you, and it's like keep in mind it's like pixelated and looks really shitty, but
Yeah.
like I still remember that being 10
Playing
years
that
old,
on
be
the
like,
living
oh
room TV and you're like, oh fuck.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't mean to do
yeah,
that, Mom. I
yeah, yeah.
promise.
Oh, I didn't know.
I promise. The second you walk out of that room, I'm not going to press the button again. I promise. Like, there's going to be no way that I press A again. Fuck, there's titties again.
That was wild.
No, it just seems like that's becoming more and more of a common thing that's available in more and more games.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of sexual content, like especially I think like as the graphics got better, like especially after the PS1 era when we got into PS2, like
You mean
we
you
started.
still don't go to the Spice Channel for your alone time and try and look through the fuzz and try and see just that one titty and freeze it?
I remember those days too.
I remember trying to stay up late to watch the Girls Gone Wild commercials that just had random stickers
I
over top of the nipples.
It's like
That was my favorite
spring
pastime.
spring break in Daytona Beach.
I'm your Girls Gone Wild Flash.
Yeah.
Always during the fucking Girls Next Door episodes, those were fucking fantastic. And they were always together. You could watch a 2 hour block and be like, yeah, 4 or 5 times during this at 12
Yeah,
years old. And it's like, fuck, goddamn.
yeah, that was wild, man. That was wild.
Fucking Girls Next Door. Everybody watched that shit, I guarantee you. No, you did not steal HBO and Skinamax like a true degen. Holly Madison could not shit in your ass. That's fucking disgusting. You fucking weirdo. She was the third choice out of all of them. If you tier rank them, Holly Madison is by far third. Who you have at number 1 out of Kendra and Bridget is a complete personal decision. Holly by far was like the 40-year-old MILF out of the 3.
Yeah, yeah, I think so
Yep.
too.
Call you a liar again. No. The fact that you were probably 80 years old and knew how to steal those is the problem.
Like steal the channels.
Yeah, he stole HBO and Skinamax. That way he didn't have
Oh,
those problems.
yeah. Back in the day, like I had like relatives and
It
family
was like a
friends
digital converter that made you
yeah,
available
they
to
had
do
like
it.
the
Yeah.
illegal black box, and honestly, if it wasn't for that black box, other than movies and videos that I shouldn't have seen, like I guess I shouldn't have seen the first UFC, and like I shouldn't have watched Holyfield versus Tyson growing up, but like I had access to all of those things because of that black box.
No, I wish that I guess the internet kind of is that now. But with the way TV's going and the way content's going, it's really weird because so many things are paywalled now.
Yep. I mean, there's so many things that are paywalled, but with there's clever people out there that know how to bypass that, right?
Yeah. Well, with the availability of cease and desists and strikes being available, it's like, yeah, this shit's more available, but the availability to get caught is not like the 90s, is not like the 2000s. They're not driving around in trucks looking for cables attached to your house because they weren't even doing that then.
Yeah.
Stealing cable was legitimately a pastime of most people in the cities. It just was.
Yeah, man, especially Filipino families back in my era. Like you at least had one uncle that had this box.
Yeah, Exactly. I remember we had a converter that was a cable converter that you plugged the cable into, and when you had cable turned on, it made every channel that was received available. So if
Hmm.
you had cable, you went from basic cable, so 20, 30 channels, all the way up to the digital channels,
Yeah.
guaranteed without the box.
Yeah. 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 I remember that.
But it
That
was
was trippy.
also one of the ones that made it so that way you could connect the composite cables to TVs that didn't have them. It was both of
Hmm.
them built in.
Hmm.
That was a very very interesting time because the
It
one
was
TV in my house that was acceptable to play video games on absolutely did not have composite cables, so that black box ended up in my room real fucking quick.
nice.
Yeah, CRT talk. Yes, absolutely. I never thought we would get here, B Moose, but we absolutely have.
Yeah, I actually have like a nice CRT in my room here. Like, let me see.
Oh god damn, you have one hell of a setup. It's fucking
Yeah,
sick.
man. Yeah, that's that's a Sony Trinitron Wega TV. It's like this really fancy like CRT TV, and like I've had this for years. Like this was like my mom's TV for a long time,
Yeah.
and it's perfect for retro gaming.
I had one of the coolest fucking CRT TVs when I was like second to fourth grade. I had one of the floor models that was like built into a fucking big ass fucking cabinet that was like 650 fucking pounds.
Oh,
But at
nice.
10 and 11 years old, you want a big fucking TV that you can sit down or lay in front of and just watch.
Yeah.
And at that time, everybody was swapping from those kind of TVs to fucking projection TVs. So when we
Hmm.
got a 40, 50-inch projection TV in the living room, that TV ended up in my room. So I
Hmm.
went from like a little shitty hand me down motel TV that somebody picked up for $10 to the floor model TV that's been handed down for the past 30 years. And it was one of the craziest fucking things because I had then built in surround sound and I had a 40-inch TV that I could just sit in front of, and it was fucking insane.
Those were awesome, man. Those were really good
Yeah,
back in the day.
we ended up moving out of that apartment and moving to the third floor level of an apartment building in the middle of Catskill. And they're like, "We're not moving the big ass TV, Zach. I'm sorry, you lose your TV." And I was like, "That is the shittiest thing in the fucking world. I understand, but that is shitty that I lose my TV because you don't want to move something. That sucks." I was like, "I
Yeah.
just got this." It is crazy, man. Is there any crazy stories that you want to tell or anything like that?
What do you want to know?
I don't know, man. Like I'm trying not to be like super topical because like I think focusing only on your announcing and stuff like that is kind of very face forward. The great
Yeah,
baby
and
black of 2023. I don't know what the fuck that is.
and also too, like, I've talked a lot about like my announcing career and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that, and that's one of the reasons why you wanted to have me on. Well, I
But
guess
yeah,
like, I guess like outside of announcing, like obviously like I'm really into video games, particularly retro video games. Street Fighter 2 being my number one game, and being
no,
Canadian, I'm really into NHL 94.
yeah, you're not one of the people that's like, yeah, I have NBA Jam back there, and it's top
NBA
top.
NBA Jam's amazing too, by the way. Do you like NBA Jam?
What fucking NBA game it was it? I had an N64 NBA game that I loved playing as the Lakers on because I
Was it
had
NBA Hang Time, or was it Kobe Bryant courtside?
no, I think it was legitimately licensed. I think it was NBA Slam 99, but Slam might be the wrong adjective. The
Who was it
fuck
made
was it?
by? Who
It
was it
was
made
on
by?
N64. I don't remember which one it was the
There,
problem.
because there's so many
Yeah, I
NBA
know.
games, especially back in the day. It was like there was at least like seven different NBA games per
Yeah,
console.
and there was two or three MLB games. It was a fucking blast. I remember playing
Yeah,
fucking Ken Griffey baseball.
Ken Griffey baseball was fun.
That
Ken
shit
Griffey
was a
baseball was
fucking
excellent,
blast.
especially
MLB
like
presents Ken Griffey baseball, it was the one right before they went to the MLB licensing. That game was a fucking blast.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I can't remember. It might have been Grand Slam. I can't remember. Like I have like the cartridge laying around somewhere actually because I collect games and
Yeah,
stuff too.
I remember going through even in like the mid 2000s and playing franchises on that game because I just liked the timing and the fact that all of the pitches were different speeds, and if
Hmm.
you did it correctly, it benefited you. And
Yeah,
until like MLB The Show came out, it was like that was the greatest fucking baseball game there
baseball game.
was. Yeah, but
I'm I kind of miss how back then, like in terms of like sports games, we actually had lots of choices. Where
yeah.
like nowadays it's like there's only like one or two companies, and it's because of like licensing agreements and all that kind of stuff. Like we don't have that many players in terms of like
Well,
sports.
they got rid of all of the fun games. You wanna know what would be a fucking blast to play?
What's that?
If they brought back NFL Street or NBA Street. That
Oh
like
yeah,
retro style fucking game.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why they haven't. Like I know like 2K they do like the NBA playground, but no one plays that. Um, and yeah,
Has that shit
NFL
even
it
been
did have legs.
updated? I haven't seen that shit since like back in the day.
I think it gets updated here and there, but like no
But
one plays it, right? No one plays it.
UFC games are now growing. Imagine a
Yeah,
backyard fucking UFC game. Like Def
man.
Jam Vendetta style.
Oh, I'd love that if it was
With
like
no
over the
fucking
top.
cage, but like everybody
Yeah,
just standing outside of where the fucking cage would be.
yeah. I love Def Jam Fight for New York and Vendetta. Those
That
are
would be a
amazing
fucking
games.
blast. And you could even
Yeah,
have crossovers with like fucking rap stars or celebrities and shit like that. Have the UFC
they've been
fighters and have all of the celebrities and everything else. It would be a fucking ball, especially with all of the UFC fights and crossover fights and stuff.
I would be all for that if they somehow like found a way to like have an over the top licensed UFC game like in the
EA,
same
this is
like
our fucking idea. We want rev share on this.
I actually worked as like a QA back in the day for EA. Like I
Oh yeah,
worked that was like
I still get the emails. It's a fucking ball. I love
yeah,
those. I love
yeah,
that they have playtests available.
I was a QA. I was an actual QA tester for the first UFC game in by EA
That's fucking awesome.
and Fight Night Champion as well.
But like imagine doing the dream fights. I remember when AEW was trying to release their game and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go back to NWO WCW Revenge style. We're gonna get those devs. I was like, oh, so you're gonna do the crazy thing and allow celebrities to be in it, and they didn't. And I'm like, I wonder if that's what's going to happen next.
Well, I know like they're releasing a big update tomorrow. They have like they have their Stadium Stampede mode, which is like it's like a battle royale but in a
Yeah.
wrestling game.
Hmm.
So like I'm curious to see how that plays out. It looks like a lot of fun.
No, that game interests me as a whole because I used to love Revenge on fucking N64. That shit was a
Yeah.
fucking ball.
Do you like Revenge over No Mercy?
So I watched WCW up until it closed, and
Yeah,
then I
me too.
swapped over completely.
Yeah. But
They,
in terms of like game, like do you prefer WCW Revenge or do you like WWF No Mercy better?
I had the nostalgia for Revenge, so
Never.
that nostalgia kind of holds it regardless. I haven't really gone
Who's
back and played No Mercy to the level of Revenge ever.
who? I guess here's an interesting trivia question. Like I mean, no trivia answer. I'm actually like the best WWF No Mercy player in Vancouver. Like I won. Like I held like this tournament, and like at a bar, and like I beat the shit out of everyone in No Mercy.
I remember when I was working at the last sales job I had, we would bring in switches and the entire
Nice.
lunch while we were sitting there eating, we would be playing video games because they gave us a TV. Don't give a whole bunch of trolly funny people TVs because they will fuck it up for everybody, and I'll explain how we did that. But
Sure.
during our lunch, we were playing fucking Mario Kart the entire time that we
Nice.
were on lunch. And it is surreal how bad some people are at Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Some people are fucking atrocious, especially
Uh-huh.
when you go from 150 to 200 and
Mhm.
everybody is lost. Then you really see the difference of skill. Not
Yeah,
even
I agree.
I didn't even have a Switch at the time. I was just playing it because I knew how to play Mario Kart.
Hmm.
So when we would leave and unconnect the Switch and everything else, we would go through and find the trolliest fucking video from like back in the day of like early YouTube, whether that was Beep Beep on the Sheep or like the early dumb fucking songs that would piss everybody off. We would find like a 10-hour loop of it and hide the remote.
Oh, you guys are bad.
Because what are you doing to entertain yourself on a normal day? Like, you gotta have some kind of fun. And everybody,
growing up, were you the kind of guy like at computer class that would change like the wallpaper of the school computer?
yes,
And like put it. Yeah, I was that
but
guy too.
I was not the level that some of my friends was. So I had this one dude. There was two guys that were worse than me at it. One of them's name was Anthony, and one of them's name was Will. Will is actually one of the guys that I got jumped by. He was the guy that I was fighting. But Anthony, the last time I saw him, because he ended up moving down to the New Jersey, I believe. He sent around a link that I don't remember if it auto changed your background on Mac or if it just made it so it popped up and you couldn't close it. Don't remember what the joke about it was, but it was lemonparty.com.
Oh no. Oh no. You have terrible friends too.
And that wasn't the only one that happened in that one day. It was Lemon Party, and then it was, what the fuck was it? Was it like Easy Sunday Morning, and it was like grandparents fucking in a shower? It was something similar to that.
What a time of the internet! Like when you saying all these things, it just gives me flashbacks and nightmares of the things that I've seen.
The fucked up part is what we would do is we would wait for somebody to go to the bathroom, because everybody, regardless of what class it is, you get up and go to the bathroom, at least one person during that time.
Of course.
So if you're sitting next to one of the funny people, you don't fucking get up.
Yeah.
You just don't. You don't get up because they're going to fuck with you.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck with you.
So everybody thought it was hilarious that anytime any of the attractive females would get up, that they would change their background to essentially like the black guy that's sitting there with the big ass fucking smile on his face with his big ass dick hanging down in between his legs. Background. And if you are not technologically inclined in 2009, do you know how to change your background on a fucking Mac when you know for damn sure most people have Windows computers at home? They don't have a Mac. They have no idea how you did it.
Yeah, I used to do shit like that all the time. Minus like the dick, because like I'm not trying to like get in shit or whatever. I just put like something stupid. Like
no, they have no proof that you did it, which was the craziest thing. It's like, oh, you have no idea that I was the one that fucked with them? Why am I not fucking with everybody? I don't care. So they stopped sending us to the computer lab and started handing us MacBooks. So it's literally the one that's in your hand, and if that one gets fucked up and you don't close, they know exactly who was sitting next to you. They know exactly who jumped over to your seat because you would be in the classroom still instead of in the library. Mm-hmm. That was the way they handled that problem. But password sharing in 9th and 10th grade was absolutely hilarious. That's how we ended up swapping. I remember we were in 12th grade in honors government class. We went to the computer lab and we played this fucking game, and it was a game based off of like Civilization essentially. And there was tiles on a map that you could purchase with. You were given like $5,000 at the beginning of the day, and you ended up having to have availability to live. And somebody obviously had to own a supermarket, and you had to essentially build a civilization for the entire class to live in. And they're like, we're going to run a mock. And I was like, I know exactly what the one thing is that everybody's going to need. It's going to be the power plant, because you're only going to have one of those. Water, all of those things, there's normally 2 or 3 different ways to get that. I was like, and they ended up auctioning that off first. So I bid all $5,000 first, because nobody understands how an auction works in fucking 12th grade. So you just jump at it and make them all feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I ended up in an hour, being the only person over $100,000 because I owned all of the power.
Yeah.
They're like, this is why socialism is one of the things that's talked about. I said, no, this is why all you are dipshits. You have no idea what the fuck is going on, and that's why it worked. If the government purchased it, we're still having price controlled things, and we're still going to end up failing because it's still government controlled. There's not a second business here. That's the problem. So they went and bought it with the government money, and I still, even with the government owning the power plant, I ended up owning half of the map by the end of the next week because we ended up, after the demo that we did for the one day and I led the game with $1 million, we ended up doing a full week of this game on a brand new server, and I still wiped the floor with all of them. And I had no idea. They sat there and planned in class what they were going to do. And I was like, yeah, thank you for telling me.
Not very smart.
No, it's like, you guys are all honor kids. How the fuck do you not know how to execute a plan that works governmentally or sociologically? Like, there's no fucking reason that you're not able to do this. And
To be fair, like I knew a lot of honor students, like, you know, that were really book smart, but when it came down to like actual practical skills in anything, they didn't really have it.
I have two cousins that are night and day of each other in that circumstance.
Okay.
The oldest is super book smart, blonde hair, blue eyed, does not look like she fits in with the family at all. Like, sticks out like a sore thumb. The redheaded stepchild of this family.
Okay.
The youngest, brown hair, brown eyes, super, super street smart, understands EQ to a new level that most people don't.
Okay.
It is weird watching those two have conversations and be in the exact same family, have the exact same parents. No differences growing up other than who they are. And one of them is the complete opposite. So I was having a conversation with my mom. I was like, I wonder if the book smartness of people is directly correlated to the people that will push their first kid to be the smartest, push their first kid to be the overachiever, push their first kid to be the one, like the star kid almost. And when they slack with the second one sees real life, and then they become very, very street smart. They become very, very logical. They become very, very in-depth with what they're seeing because they're not having a book forced in their hand. I wonder how much correlation that actually is in depth there, because I've only seen it that one time, but it is so night and day in between those two. It is hard to compare that to a normal situation. Like, I was the oldest, so I had the book smartness of that level too. Like, my grandparents made sure that I was ahead in everything. I was super, super intelligent. I was able to say what motor were in certain cars and everything else. Like, wow. I was a sponge and just absorbed fucking everything. I wonder if that's more correlated than what most people expect it to be. It would be a weird kind of study. Yeah, my parents pushed me. My parents didn't push my brother. This is what happened. It's weird. It's really fucking weird. I would love to go another half an hour, but I'm fucking exhausted. You look exhausted. Go check out Gfuel because they were the only reason I was able to talk this long and bullshit for this long. Ryan, thank you for coming on and coming to hang out. Check out Ryan on Twitter and everywhere else where Ryan Ventura is found. Check him out on the next Misfits card, the next UFC card. He's probably going to be there. Send him all the love. Thank you guys for coming out and having fun. We'll see you fucking next time. See you fucking later.
Thank you for having me.